And what's going on, old nation? Was trying to get everything going. My apologies. All right, man, let's do it. Hey, what's going on, old nation? CJ Wilson here with Dope Talk. Let's chat it up a little bit. We got a pretty big show ahead of us. Want to wrap up the Florida game, and then of course we have National Signing Day today as well. Want to kind of go through the names of the kids that's going to be signed. Well, that have signed a letter into the Florida State. There's a few other kids that FSU is still in them. I guess you could say recruiting, so to speak. We'll see if those letters come in or not. So again, we got a pretty big show. We'll get going. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Want to give a shout out to our sponsor, shout out to FastPay. FastPay provides your corporate MasterCard built for business expenses such as travel, lodging, entertainment, shipping, whatever it is, you name it. You get 2.25% in cash back and in Evergreen as well. Also, there's no annual fees or no monthly fees. So again, if you guys have a company credit card that you're using, I'm telling you, for the best bang for your buck, tap it with FastPay. They'll definitely get you taken care of. All right, like I said, guys, we're going to go over the Florida game and speak about that a little bit, speak about the signing day and go over the commits, and then we're going to open the phone lines up towards the end. And I got to hear from you guys wrapping up the Florida game. Decision to keep Mike Norvell, yada, 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 staff changes, off-field changes, everything that I guess you could say, administration promised us. Just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, get it off your chest. And again, hit that like and subscribe button. I know a few people are tuning in from the YouTube portion as well. I'm sorry, the Twitter portion. If you are viewing on Twitter, go ahead and show a little love and jump to the YouTube side of things and hit that like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel and jump in the comments, hang out a little bit because, of course, you can't do all that on the Twitter version. So come on over to the YouTube side of things and hang out a little bit. And if you want to call in for the call-in portion, of course, you can't do that from Twitter. So jump over to the YouTube portion of the show. And also super chats, if you guys got anything you want specifically. You guys know once I get in my spiel, I'm kind of long-winded and don't really look at the comments too much. But again, all super chats, they get answered instantly. So if you guys want to chime in or have anything you want to say or anything like that, or to show a little love within the super chats, again, that's available as well. Again, all super chats, they get answered instantly. All right, let's jump right into it. Lost 40-21 against Florida on the road. Pretty much Florida, to kind of sum everything up, Florida straight up bullied FSU, straight up hold FSU, whatever you want to call it. They did whatever they wanted to, especially at the line of scrimmage. They had 272. This is pretty much the game. 272 yards rushing, 266 yards by one player. Jaden Baugh had 38 fucking carries, 266 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He could have easily had 300 yards if they wanted to against Florida State. He averaged 7 yards a pop in the game, 7 yards a pop. Just reading that shit makes my damn stomach hurt. Mickey Andrews doing damn backflips, saying every cuss word in the book. Just looking at that type of performance, man, it's pretty much what it was. It was just bad all around. And also, they didn't even Florida didn't get cute or anything. They knew what they could do on us, and that's just pretty much bully us up front. They didn't get cute and let Lagway do what Lagway does, and be honest with you, lose the game for them within, how he's been playing throughout the season. Pretty much how the season has went. And hell, even on Saturday, once we put Lagway in passing situations, we were able to get pass rusher on him. Our pass rusher was able to get active. He wasn't accurate at all, missed a lot of throws. But again, Florida dropping back and passing against us was pretty much saving FSU. Every time they ran down ball, it was positive plays, and Billy Gonzalez pretty much just did. Yeah, Billy Gonzalez pretty much just did what Billy Napier should have been doing all damn year, and that's just run behind ball and let things play out. But in most of Florida losses, when you have comparable, I guess you could say, defensive linemen from a recruiting standpoint, they couldn't just bully and run the ball, so they had to try to pass the ball and loosen things up and not be predictable. And that's when they got into situations to where they, of course, lost the game. But against Florida State, we didn't have the defensive lineman that we should have from a Florida State perspective, and just from I guess you could say a competitive standpoint based upon the teams that Florida has played thus far in the season. And they did exactly what they wanted to, and that's run the football right down our throat. It was pretty much no fight from FSU altogether. It was embarrassing. Seems like they just wanted things to be over, wanted the season to kind of be over, from my perspective. And this is the wild part about it. Like, Mike Norvell is kind of on the bad side of history all the time, but this was the second time he's lost to a Florida interim coach. FSU lost 7 of their last 9 games after starting the season 3-0. Like, you go 2-7 in your last 9 games. And 2 of those wins came against what? Subpar teams. You got what? Virginia Tech and whoever else that other one against Wake Forest. Yeah, both of those guys came at home. So again, you look at that, it's just not good football at all. From an offensive standpoint, pretty much the same story and all. It's like, it's crazy. And it's the wild part about FSU as well too. I don't know how they could do this. It's a testament to how the identity of this team. But if you look at all of FSU's losses, especially on the road, not even on the road, just all the losses in general, they pretty much are mirror images of each other. Everything pretty much flows the same way. Turnovers in the red zone, early in the game, that type of deal. Get down by double digits, try to claw your way back at a certain point, get off rhythm with running the football. Tommy Castellano passing the ball way too much, due to being down by double digits. It doesn't matter who. Stanford, Virginia, Miami at home, Clemson on the road, NC State on the road, Florida on the road. It really doesn't matter. It's like the exact same story in all the games. It's pretty amazing, pretty remarkable that all these losses are kind of mirror image of each other in the way that it went. Of course, we got garbage time yards to get over the 400-yard mark and that type of deal. But one of the biggest issues that I had with the season itself and just the offense itself, Tommy Castellano had 19 rushes against Florida. The next after that was 5 rushes, and that was from Cromar, your running back. So your leading carrier from a running back standpoint was 5. Sam Singleton, this is like the greatest mystery for the season. FSU's running back rotation and what goes into that, the carries and all that type of deal. Sam Singleton had a carry against Florida for like 20 plus yards. He didn't get another touch. He only had 2 carries on the game. First carry went for like 20 plus yards. He didn't get that second touch until like 2 quarters later. Of course, Tommy didn't play well. Also, in my opinion, had 4 sacks on the day, and most of those sacks came from him stepping up into the sacks. They were sacks based upon they were quarterback sacks instead of sacks credited to the offensive line, in my opinion. Missed throws. Dwayne McCoy, of course, he looked great. Had 6 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. I've been pretty vocal in saying the only thing that pretty much held Dwayne back this year was the injury earlier in the season and the quarterback either overthrown or just not looking his way. This kid's been a bright spot the second half of the season for FSU. Pretty much is open damn near every game and could have had a lot of big games in prior games from a receiving standpoint, just due to better quarterback play, more accuracy from the quarterback. Now, short yardage, and this is another thing. Like, we look at the Gus Malzahn offense, and yes, we're top 10 in yards, all that type of deal. Red zone offense is atrocious. Short yardage offense makes you want to throw up. It's sickening. 3rd and 2. And I don't know why in the fuck Mike Norvell went for this shit, but we all knew once he started sizing up the measurements on the sideline, he was going for this. But it was 3rd and 2, and the play caller within these 2 plays just to get 2 yards, right? Just to get 2 yards. You have Roydell Williams, for all people, getting a carry on a delayed handoff. third and 2. You get 1 yard. All right, 4th and 1. 4th and 1. What do? You do a play action, sprint out, run pass option with Tommy Castellano. And of course, you fall short of 4th down. 4th and 1, you do a play action, run, a sprint out, and you have a run pass option for Tommy to run and throw depending on the defense. All for 1 yard. You do all of that to get 2 yards. So why don't you just put Promo in the game, put Holmes in the game? Hell, you can even put Sawchuk in the game. He's been a physical runner for the most part. And run straight downhill. You got a pretty physical offensive line. Run straight downhill, get 2 yards. If we can't get 2 yards on 2 plays, no matter the fucking opponent, running directly at them, something is wrong. So again, our short yardage play calling is ridiculous because we make things a lot harder than they should be. No way we should be running first of all, a delayed handoff on 3rd and 2. And then second, like the 4th and 1, a play action sprint out run pass option for 1 yard. Come on, man. Miss me with that. Yeah, that's pretty much the damn Florida game in a nutshell. And I guess my question for administration, like, how do you, after that game, how do you play my theme music?
Hell no!
Hey, shout out to Harley, man. Appreciate the super chat. Devin57, is it Devin G5719? Appreciate the super chat. It's the Calvin Russell smoke real. To be honest with you, I think it is kind of real. I didn't believe so at first, but I guess you could say recent events and just reading some tea leaves and a couple conversations after the fact that I've been hearing that it could be in play. I'll probably watch out for a few other teams as well too, but that's not Calvin Russell really isn't the one I really care about. I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think we have plenty of good receivers on deck for FSU within this recruiting cycle. So he's not a guy that I'd hold my breath on as far as, I'm not going to say that. He'll be a great gift for FSU. We'll leave it at that. A really good gift for FSU. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it at this point in time, but I do think there is some smoke as he factored through his decision. Well, I think Michigan was a team he was speaking to prior to his commitment. LSU may be a team to watch out for as well. They were high up in his recruitment. I'm pretty sure Lane Kiffin going to LSU may be enticing for him. I don't think Miami is in the picture for Calvin Russell moving forward. I don't believe so. I think their staff had kind of moved on from that recruitment. So yeah, Calvin Russell is in play for FSU whenever he decides. We'll see how it plays out. And there's a few others. We'll get to signing day in a few, but there's a few others that could be in play for FSU going into tomorrow, as this was just the first day that these kids get signed. So yeah, we'll see how things go within the next few days for FSU. Again, I think they are still trying to work on a few other guys. Trent Henderson, the kid from Pensacola, is committed to LSU. He's another guy that FSU has been having conversations with as of late. I don't believe he did sign his letter of intent to LSU. I could be wrong because I haven't been on the timeline within the last hour or so, but last I had with that was that his letter of intent is still out there. He's kind of debating on what to do. And of course, you got new head coach in Lane Kiffin and also their defensive coordinator, Baker. He is being reportedly the lead for the Tulane job. So, I don't know. We'll see about Trent Henderson as well. If you guys remember that recruitment, he was kind of leaning towards FSU over the spring, and then that died down over the summer. Ended up committing to LSU. Then the Florida Gators was a team that got in with his recruitment as well, too. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I just don't really see how you kind of sign off to bring Mike Norvell back. I'm not sure President McCullough, AD Alfred, and other administration of things. I'm not sure if you guys are aware or not, but you can change your mind. You know that, right? Like, just because you put that statement out doesn't mean you have to stick with it. Originally, you said you were going to evaluate at season's end, which made the announcement after the NC State game more weird, in my opinion, based upon we still had one more game left. Shit, you haven't won on the road at all. So just kind of read the tea leaves. You lost to NC State, put up 11 points, and you pretty much get the vote of confidence to Mike in regards to him coming back. You could have waited till after this game to make that decision, like you stated, as far as making a decision at season's end. But again, we have Mike. We got to deal with that. And we'll go from there. But let's kind of jump in. We'll transition a little bit and kind of get into signing day. Then after that, we'll get into more, I guess, conversations about more conversations about Mike Norvell's future, this, that, and third, and decisions about administration, making coaching changes, off-field changes, all that type of deal. I'm pretty sure we'll hear a lot more of that after today. Getting these kids signed and that type of deal was the number one priority. With signing day being pushed up, it makes no fucking sense to me as well. Too, like I hate the college football calendar. A lot of coaches have been speaking out on this as well. Excuse me, but I hate the college football calendar in regards to how everything is so pushed up and jumbled within the season. You got coaches while in the midst of them possible playoff runs, getting courted by other coaches, taking other jobs and things like that. Shit, you got after the season, you really can't. You got to rush to fire coaches or hire coaches, this, that, and the third, unless you're making those changes during the season. Because signing day is literally what we had the rivalry weekend on Saturday, and then on Wednesday you're having signing day. It's just everything is kind of jumbled up and rushed, in my opinion. They need to definitely figure out the college football schedule moving forward, because this right here isn't it at all. But yeah, let's jump into it and kind of discuss some of these commits for FSU. Harlan, the first one we have is Nika Hippie, correct? The first one we had lined up is it Nikkei Hippie, the cool hippie. Who did you have first? All right, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name. Nikkei Hippie, 6'7", 370-pound offensive tackle. This was a surprise. It was the first facts, or I guess you could say letter of intent that FSU got on the morning, and it was a surprise when he was originally committed to Auburn. Ended up decommitting from Auburn once they made the hiring of Alice Golich, from USF. Flipped to Florida State, 6'7", 320-pounder. This is an interesting one, like I stated, because from a body size standpoint, it's crazy. He's from Cross Seas, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Real raw prospect, hasn't played a lot of football, but again, 6'7", 320. I'm sorry, 6'7", 370. We talk about frame and all that type of deal, and body types, and this kid definitely fits the bill. I'm going to move on to the next one. Luke, and we have clips and stuff from the timeline that FSU put up, but of course, like I said, Heppy, he didn't even take an official visit to Florida State, so that was one of the bigger surprises. They didn't have a chance to get any photo ops and all that type of deal. But Luke Francis, 6'4", 335-pound guard, and interior type of guy. He's originally from London. Again, body types. I will say Herb Hand, he likes a certain type, and we begin a lot bigger versus the previous regime that really didn't, I guess you could say, focus on the measurables. All right, moving on to the next one, we have Mike Onada. If I'm pronouncing this, please forgive me. 6'5", 300-pound interior offensive lineman from Clearwater as well. Again, body types. This is a person that he's a mauler as well too. This is a person that Herb Pan had a previous relationship with, going back to UCF, was recruiting him there, and ended up committing to Florida State. Moving on to the next one, probably one of my favorite commits of the class, Chuck Keenan, 6'1", 175-pound cornerback from Sarasota. This kid has superstar type potential, does it all for his team down there in Sarasota. Offense, defense, you name it. Deep run in the playoffs. He's pretty much been all his life. Kid is one of those dream school type of kids, and he stuck to it. Committed to FSU, didn't waver, wasn't turning into the schools and things like that. Ended up getting the logo tattooed on him. This kid is a Noles through and through, and I really like what he brings to the table. Very good player. Next, we're going to talk about Xavier Tiller, tight end, 6'5", 226 pounds from Georgia. Shout out to FSU because they did a really good job of keeping Tiller within the recruiting class because he was getting, I guess you could say, he was getting recruited by other SEC schools in regards to trying to flip him. Shout out to the deputy, one of the best, Chris Thompson, one of the best recruiters on staff. Did a hell of a job keeping Tiller signed within the class. I like his potential a lot. Big time playmaker. Auburn and a few other schools have flirted with him. Moving on, and FSU did a really good job of trapping in Georgia this recruiting cycle. Georgia and Florida, which is pretty much all you need to do. Shout out my guy Grimes, Jasper Grimes, he coaches up football in Georgia, Florida State fan. Pretty much said everything you need within the Tallahassee radius is pretty much within 250 miles. And he's absolutely right. But Chris Corbin, 6'4", 236 edge rusher. Like this kid a lot. He was previously committed to Georgia Tech. Really good burst off the edge, twitchy, athletic, which we've been missing. Of course, as you can see, the premium type of edge rusher, you got to get that type of burst to get to create more sacks from the defensive line, more pressures from the defensive line. Moving on, Jordan Crunchfield, 6'3", 200-pound safety from Vero Beach. He was originally committed to the University of Kentucky. FSU ended up flipping him from Kentucky. Mark Stoops, he committed to Mark Stoops. You guys know about Mark Stoops. From a defensive player perspective, a defensive back perspective, if Mark Stoops signs off on you, I'm cool with it too because I really trust his evals. Going back to Florida State, of course, all of his evaluations in the defensive backs that he brought to Florida State, and even at Kentucky, he was recently fired from Kentucky, but 12 years or so there. Really good defenses at Kentucky, really good defensive backs, and you have to do your due diligence and study. So for Mark Stoops to come down to Florida and get a defensive back, I could sign off on that as well to go to Florida State. Could grow into a linebacker as well. Now we're going to go over to his teammate, E.J. White, receiver, 6'1", 155-pounder. He's been committed to Florida State for a while. But again, this is a kid that's been getting courted by other schools as well, including ACC foe, NC State. They were flirting with him and things like that. He is, like I said, teammates with Crunchfield. Was committed for a while. A few other teams reached out, but ended up sticking with his commitment. Shout out to the staff for locking him down. Move on to probably my favorite offensive lineman, Jacoby Green, 6'4", 310-pound guard from Gaskin County. Keyword, one word, nasty, physical, violent. He's a mauler. This is a kid that look, you watch his film. He finishes off blocks. One of those type of players. Local kid, like I said, you want to keep your local type of guys. Jacoby Green is a physical mauler for the interior. Moving on the defensive line, we have Franklin Whitley, 6'6", 265-pounder, edge rusher from Greenville. This is maybe my favorite defensive line recruit that we've gotten thus far. This kid is a big-time playmaker. Clemson and South Carolina were teams he was looking at as they're in his backyard. Violent at the point of attack. You look at the frame, 6'6", 265, pretty much tells you all you need to know. Really good get in the need within this 3-3-5 type of defense. Moving on to Judah Daniels. Judah Daniels, 6'3", 265-pound defensive lineman from Fort Myers. That's a flag, kiddo. Can't do that nowadays, but I like the violence. He ended up slamming that ball carrier. Again, good job on the defensive line as far as body type, 6'3", 265. Darren Williams, another kid that's been a long time commit for FSU, 5'11", 165-pounder from Tampa. Plant plays both ways, played both ways in high school, receiver and defensive back. This is a kid that's been committed to Florida State, but over the summer he was flirting with the University of Florida. They tried to get a late push to flip Williams over the summer, but he elected to stay committed to Florida State. Again, Tampa Plant area, one of the prominent high schools in Florida. I like to pick up. Stephen Pickard, the next pickup we're going to talk about, 6'5", 300-pounder from IMG. This is an offensive lineman. I believe he's going to be a guard. He ended up flipping from Syracuse to FSU a few days ago. So again, Hurricane, like I said, what's the 6'5", 300-pounder? Hurricane likes body types. All right, let's go to the next one. I like this kid a lot. Demar Lewis, 6'4", 245-pound edge rusher from Charlotte, North Carolina. Ended up picking the Noles over the in-state team, NC State and Nebraska. Cornhuskers, physical, violent type of kid, gets to the quarterback, knockbacks as far as in the run game, usually plays behind the line of scrimmage. Stephen Moore, FSU got a JUCO commit from Stephen Moore, 6'5", 320-pound tackle. Again, as you can see, their body type, 6'5", 320. Hurricane, he likes what he likes as far as size, man. That's half the battle pretty much. A lot of coaches, even Miami, Mario Cristobal and Mirabal, who are both offensive line guys, they love frames, body size, and things like that. And those type of coaches pretty much feel like, okay, if I have this type of clay that I can mold, I'm a good coach and a developer. I could pretty much handle the rest. And I think Herb Hand kind of feels the same way. We've seen how good the offensive line was this year versus last year. In just 1 year, we had a hell of an improvement. Moving on to the next one, Brandon Bennett, Blazer. American Heritage, as you see right there, taking a kickback. This kid is a big play waiting to happen. From a deep threat ball option to running a kickback and that type of deal. 6 foot, 170-pounder from American Heritage. Committed to FSU over the summer, over UF and over the Georgia Bulldogs. So again, this kid runs a sub 11 in the 100 meters. Big time playmaker. Speed. Let's go to the next. The next one is Noah Lavelli. Caleb Lavelli's brother from Georgia, 6'1", 220-pound. Again, I like this linebacker class, man. I really do. We're going to get into some more of the heavy hitters within the linebacker class in a few, but I really like this linebacker class. Pretty much FSU, we'll get to that. We'll wrap it up in a second once we finish. Next up, a little bit of legacy recruit. Jonah P. So we got Jonah Winston. Of course, that's Jameis Winston's little brother. Played ball in Alabama at Hoover. Receiver. Going to be a slot guy for FSU. He's pretty dynamic with the ball in his hands. Want to create space, one-on-one matchups in the slot, and pretty much do what he does as far as just turning those screen passes and little passes into big plays. All right. Let's go to the next one. Jalen Anderson. FSU went back in the JUCO ranks for another lineman. Jalen Anderson, 6'3", 240-pounder. I think he's originally from Palm Beach. So again, Florida kid, and this kid could play he could play football, man. Gets after the quarterback. He's violent with his hands, really good technique, and he goes to the whistle, goes hard to the whistle. This is a kid I like a lot. Corbin Fordham. As you guys know, that Fordham name sounds familiar, right? He's a tight end from Bowles. He's a legacy recruit as his dad played at Florida State. We flipped him about a month or so ago from Ohio State, 6'4", 220-pounder. This kid is a baller. Really good playmaker. Shout out to the deputy. Like I stated, man, he does a hell of a job recruiting tight ends, man. Probably one of the better recruiters on the staff. That's underrated. But again, I really like Fordham. I'm glad he's on our team. We have to play against another damn Fordham. You guys remember, NC State has a Fordham as well. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. He had like 15 tackles against FSU. From Jacksonville as well, his brother, which we recruited him in 2021 as a linebacker, is a big need for FSU, and he went on to be one of the better linebackers in NC State history. But again, I'm glad we got the younger brother, flipped him from Ohio State. Going back to the linebacker position, Karan Maycock. I like this, another underrated kid. I like this kid a lot. Violent, physical, everything you want in a linebacker, right? Instincts, all that type of deal. 6'2", 210-pound, from Miami Central, going to the Miami Hurricanes backyard. Of course, we love South Florida. Ended up committing to FSU and was courted by the University of Alabama, University of Florida over the summer. The Texas Longhorns also offered Maycock about a month ago. Nothing really materialized from that offer, as he did stick with his commitment to FSU. Violent, he's fast, physical, everything you need in a linebacker. So I really like this linebacker class, as Maycock is the second linebacker sign that we spoke about. Moving on to the quarterback, Jaden O'Neal, 6'3", 215-pounder out of Oklahoma. As you guys know, well, if you guys didn't check it out, I did have an interview with Jaden O'Neal, excuse me. I want to say August or so. If you guys missed that interview, definitely check it out. Really good, insightful interview with Jaden O'Neal to talk about his flip from Oklahoma and that type of deal. In my opinion, Jaden O'Neal is the best pure passer that Mike Norvell has signed at Florida State thus far in his tenure. Now, that's not really saying a lot because, the quarterbacks that Mike Norvell has signed thus far at Florida State, let's be completely honest, haven't really been that good. But just from a pure passer standpoint, this kid has it all. He can really throw the ball. Nice touch, great deep ball. I like his arm a lot. I know a lot of fans were kind of, I guess, because he's not your typical dual threat type of quarterback. Trust me, this kid can run. He can run when necessary. He's a guy that pretty much keeps his eyes downfield and would rather make the play downfield versus running the football. But he's definitely mobile. He can move around in the pocket and he can scramble and get, escape downfield if need be. But best pure passer that we've signed thus far in Mike Norvell's tenure, in my opinion, the kid can really sling it. Now, this kid is probably my second or maybe my favorite. It's out of him and Chuck Keenan for as far as you go back hard. Go back to Jane O'Neal. My bad. If you can, a couple of his deep balls and throws like that, man. This kid has an arm, man. I really like it. He puts the ball on the money. He stretches the field downfield. He stretches the ball downfield. It's pretty much what we've been missing this past year for FSU. As if we've been accurate in a few more games, those games could have went the other way. All right, so this is my first or second commit, depending on him or Chuck. But Isaiah Williams. Just looking at the film, it says enough, right? Isaiah Williams. This kid he's a playmaker. 6'1", 215-pounder. He's been committed about 10 times or so to a bunch of damn schools. And I was a kid. I was not a kid. I was a person that pretty much criticized this kid due to all his commitments and things like that. But getting further information, pretty much kid was just kind of getting led. I guess you could say led by the wrong people and things like that. But the kid has his head on the shoulder the right way. He did end up getting injured during this year, missed this season if I'm not mistaken. But he should be on track to play, things like that. But again, just going back and you watch his film, I understand why these coaches were continuously recruiting this kid, even though he's committed to about 9 or so schools. This kid is a playmaker. I think On3 has him rated as the best linebacker within their recruiting ranks. Big time playmaker. He can run. When I say he's physical, he's violent. He's the type of guy, once you get hit by him that first time, you look forward to the rest of the game. One of those hits where, like, okay, I got to know where this kid is at, throughout the entire game. You're going to be looking for him because he brings that type of impact and brings that type of force when coming to the party. So I really like Isaiah Williams, like I stated. Lavelli, Maycock, and Williams, really good linebacker class. We have one more to discuss once we get there. But especially Maycock, Williams, and Green, we're going to discuss in a few. Fast and physical. Fast and physical. Let's go on to the next commit, or signee rather. Whitley Cadu. If I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, please forgive me. 6'5", 290-pounder from Georgia, defensive lineman. Again, we're getting body types, man. We're getting body types, which I like, especially what you need for this 3-3-5 defense. We're getting bodies and body types. So Whitley Cadu, 6'5", 290-pounder. Let's go on to the next one. We got Trey Bell, 6 foot, 190-pound defensive back from Miami, Florida. Ended up committed to FSU. He was one of our early commits for the 2027 recruiting cycle, 2026 recruiting cycle. My apologies. Ended up sticking with FSU throughout. Teams, I think Auburn was courting him as well down the stretch, and over the summer ended up sticking with his pledge to FSU. I like Trey Bell a lot. Really good defensive back. Amari Thomas, running back from the Bluntstown A50 area. This kid is a playmaker, man. He can run the damn football, man. If you just look at the film alone, the kid is pretty damn good. He doesn't go down easily, runs tough, has a lot of wiggle room. 6 foot, 195-pounder. He originally committed to FSU over the spring, then ended up decommitting from FSU and flipping his commitment to the South Carolina Gamecocks. The staff continued recruiting him throughout the process. Amari Thomas ended up flipping back to the Noles, and the rest is history. Ended up signing with FSU. He's a pretty good running back. Next one, we're going to wrap up the linebacker recruiting class with Dalen Green. Physical, man. I love it. Oh, man, it's beautiful. Dalen Green, 6'2", 215-pounder from Gaston County, 850, local kid. I love it, man. Athlete as well, because he originally played safety for Gaston County and receiver as well. Had a receiving touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, last year in the state championship game against Coco. As you guys know, Coco is a powerhouse. So you know the athleticism with Dalen Green. He can run. Just grew into a linebacker, 6'2", 215-pounder. Gaston County has a really good strength and conditioning program. So again, like I said, he started out as a safety, ended up growing as a linebacker. Committed to Arkansas over the summer. FSU got the flip of Dalen Green, as Arkansas, of course, they elected to fire their head coach and open things back up. And Dalen Green decided to open things back up, and as a result of that, and decided to commit to the hometown team at FSU. So again, you got Dalen Green, Isaiah Williams, Kyron Maycock, and Noah Lavelli. Really good linebacker class. Like I said, these guys can run. They're fast, they're physical, they're violent, instinctual. I really like this linebacker group. So shout out to the staff, man. Tony White has done a hell of a job, in my opinion, trying to build the defense in his liking. Did a really good job and kind of address the needs, in my opinion, for this recruiting cycle. As you guys know, defensive line and linebackers were the biggest need, and they definitely added some defensive line and linebackers. Let's go to the next one. Devin, who is this? Ernest Rankins. My apology. Yeah, Ernest Rankins. We got Ernest Rankins, 6'6", 285-pound defensive tackle from the Georgia area. Again, I think we end up being Auburn and a few other SEC teams for Ernest Rankins. Huge frame, 6'6", 285-pounders. Again, I like the frames that we're bringing in. We'll see if we can add weight to these guys, develop them from a strength and conditioning standpoint, and that type of deal. We got Ernest Rankins, interior guy, defensive line. Legacy recruit, Devin Carter, 6'1", 175-pound receiver, the son of former great running back Dexter Carter, first-round pick. I like Devin a lot. You guys remember Devin was committed to FSU originally early on in his process, ended up backing off that commitment and committed to the Auburn Tigers. Kid is from Georgia, committed to the Auburn Tigers, but FSU ended up flipping his commitment over the summer, if I'm not mistaken. So I like Devin Carter, really good player, 6'1", 175-pounder, legacy recruit, big-time playmaker. I like it. And this is one of the other flips that FSU ended up getting. And if I'm pronouncing this kid's name wrong, forgive me. Jameen Pinckney, 6'5", 220-pounder, edge rusher from South Carolina. He was originally committed to South Florida, but he let the two decommit from South Florida once that staff, Alex Goldrich, took the head coaching job at Auburn, at the University of Auburn. He's probably the most twitchy guy that we have in this recruiting cycle off the edge. The kid can receive right there. The kid can run. He's athletic. He gets after the quarterback. Needs to add more weight, but from a twitch and athleticism standpoint, he could be a pretty effective pass rusher for FSU. Just needs to get more developed physically. But I really like what he could do for FSU. And I think that's all right now. Do we have another one? Yeah, we finally got him, Jason Lopez. Been waiting on this. Letter of intent. This is one of my favorite receivers within this cycle. The kid could play damn football, man. Down there in Chaminade, down in South Florida, big time damn playmaker. He's a more athletic Xavier Restrepo, in my opinion. As you see some of the catches that he make, really dynamic playmaker, 4-star recruit. The kid can do it all, and he's a bona fide hooper, man. 4-star recruit on the basketball side of things. Really good point guard. He's going to play 2 sports for FSU, football and basketball. The kid is like 5'10". He could dunk and all that type of deal. Athletic receiver, athletic just an athlete in general. Like I said, football and basketball, going to be a dual sport athlete for FSU. You know, a lot of fans are kind of worried with this one. He had a signing day ceremony earlier, just didn't get his actual letter of intent. I guess it's a now. Appreciate that, Harlan. So I like what we have in that recruit. Cam Brooks. Okay, so Cam Brooks did end up committing to FSU. Got his letter of intent. This has been a interesting recruitment to say the least, man. If you guys remember, all over the summer, he's from Thomasville, local kid as well. So shout out to keeping it local. But if you guys remember, over the summer, there was talks about Cam Brooks, and he was saying that the staff wasn't recruiting him heavily, all that type of deal. Didn't feel like they were that interested. You elected not to take an official visit, if I'm not mistaken, but he did end up committing to the Cal Golden Bears. Cal fired the head coach, new head coach. I'm pretty sure FSU pretty much stayed in communication for Cam Brooks. But Cam is a guy that can play football. He can play football, man. Really good edge rusher. Had a lot of sacks. Plays damn good football at Thomas Central as far as the level of football, the competition. Really good competition at Thomas Central. Really good program at Thomas Central. A great program you want to pluck from as far as getting talent. So shout out to Cam Brooks, the late addition for FSU from the edge rusher standpoint. Harlan, was Cam included in the nine in the defensive line that you gave me? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I think that's where we're at right now. And I do think it's a few other recruits that FSU is waiting out on. The receiver that my guy just asked for in the super chat from Miami, Florida, that was committed to Syracuse. He's a kid to watch out for. Trent Simpson from Pensacola, he's a kid to watch out for. So to kind of wrap up, I guess, signing day in a nutshell for FSU, end up getting 10 defensive linemen. 10 defensive linemen, and all these guys pretty much have the body types that you kind of want within a 3-3-5 defense, whether it's the nose defensive tackle or your outside linebacker / edge rusher type. Linebackers, they really address the linebacker position. I like that a lot. I would love, and we got to get better blue chips, right? We got to get more elite type of prospects on the defensive line. We have to do that. I do appreciate them recruiting body types and that type of deal. But if you're at FSU and you want elite results on the defense line, you got to bring in elite players on the defensive line. Shit, we've seen it all too often. I know the Twins, they're very good. They were definitely under-recruited. But you have a Byron Burns, for instance. He was a fringe 5-star. See the type of impact he had at Florida State. So you want to bring in those type of high-level players to Florida State from the defensive line standpoint because they can be game changers. Offensive line, I think it's clear that Herb Hand emphasizes body types, right? Emphasizes body types in regards to size and that type of deal. But again, we're not, and I trust his development, but from and you guys know I'm not a big star type of guy, but just from I guess you could say star perspective and blue chip perspective, we got to bring in better prospects on the offensive line. But we do have great size, and I do think Herb feel like he could develop those guys. But just looking at the recruiting class overall, what are we ranked within the recruiting rankings? Going to, I guess, look at the 247 rankings. One second. Looking up these rankings right now. I think FSU is ranked 14th currently within the high school recruiting rankings. I mean, that's not good enough. 14 for FSU. That's not FSU standards. I mean, it's just not good enough. Now, it's not good enough to compete on the national standpoint to where we want to be. Because you look at the top 10, you got the top 10 in recruiting. You have USC, Oregon, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, Miami. That's the top 10. Michigan, LSU, right at the top 12. So pretty much everybody in the top 10 is competing for the playoffs. So if you want to be within that spot, you got to recruit, nationally from the top 10 level, man. So again, it isn't good enough for FSU standards. Simple as that. It's just not good enough for FSU standards. Now, I do think the Pinckney kid that we got from South Carolina that was committed to USF, I think he's going to be an underrated type of gem if developed correctly. But again, we can't keep getting underrated type of gems, man. You got to get ready-made guys at Florida State if you want to compete on the national level. You got to do that, but just that's not an issue alone as well too, because we lose to teams that recruit less than us all the time. So we got to develop these guys as well too. And also, I do believe, like say for instance, NC State, Stanford, NC State, Stanford. I say Virginia. Um, Teams like that, if we pretty much flipped FSU roster, say for instance, Mike Norvell took Stanford's roster and Stanford took FSU roster and vice versa for every team out his name, I'm pretty sure we'd have lost by a lot more than what we lost by if the rosters were flipped. So again, you got to coach and develop these guys as well too. We got to do a better job at that. But overall, pretty good signing day for FSU. Didn't lose any recruits. Got a few flips down the stretch and a couple surprises. But the recruiting class overall, it's just not good enough for FSU standards. It's underwhelming and pretty much kind of on par with Mike Norvell within his tenure at Florida State. But I do like what we emphasize. We emphasize defensive line, brought in 10 defensive linemen, looking to add more. Linebackers, brought in 4 linebackers, 3 that I'm really, really high on. Even Lavelli, I think he could be a player as well. On the offensive side of the ball, they focused on body types on the offensive line. All right, guys. Again, make sure you guys, we got about quite a few people on here that's tuning in from the YouTube and Twitter perspective. Showing like 1,300 people. If you guys are on the YouTube side or the Twitter side of it, if you could transition over to the YouTube, that'll, we definitely appreciate it. Again, hit that like and subscribe. If you guys haven't already, we're going to go ahead and get things going with the call-in portion of the show. If anybody want to tap in, let's discuss some things as well. If you don't want to tap in, like I stated, you guys can use the super chats. Use the super chat if you want to have a question answered or something like that specifically. But yeah, definitely tap in so we can get the call-in portion of the show. And Harlan will throw that link in. Yeah, we're gonna throw it in the comments, and it's in the the description. My apologies. And yeah, for number 14 recruiting class, when you bring in that many recruits, like it's at Florida State, no. Got to pay the bills a little bit as well too. Shout out to my people at Fast Pay. Again, make sure you guys tap in with Fast Pay to provide a corporate MasterCard built for your business expenses. You get 2.25 in cash back. In Evergreen, no annual fee, no monthly fee. Tap in with Fast Pay. My guy Chris will definitely take care of you. Noles alumni. So again, if you guys want to call in and discuss whatever it may be, let's talk. Recruiting, the Florida game, staff changes and things like that. And I guess speaking of staff changes, what do we kind of expect from a staff perspective, a staff change perspective? I do think we'll probably hear more noise in that regard. That's a good point too, man. Grant Wilk, 52. We went fucking 7-17 the last two years. So definitely, I guess you could say pretty good when factoring that in. But at the same time, man, there's no way we should go 7-17 in the first place. Shout out to Coy. Coy, we're going to get you on and get your comments going. Coy, you there?
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you. It's a little bit of noise in the background, but I hear you.
Okay, hold on, man. Try to get this static. That's too much static. You can hear me? All right. Hey, no, but I was just saying that since we got to go ahead and rock with Novell, Hello.
Yeah, I hear you. You good? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, since we got to go ahead and rock with Novell, what steps you think would be good as far as like on the GM level to get this I guess old scouting GM up out of here, and I guess probably go with somebody who, in the NFL route that can evaluate talent. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes I look, and sometimes like back in the day, they used to take defensive linemen and make them old linemen, or like some lower part old linemen, and put them in the trenches, put them at a zero tech or something like that. It seems like we don't do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you on that. So I do. As far as staff changes, I expect a change in GM. Right? You want to have us, like I said, bring somebody in. I will be cool with NFL background, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an NFL background. As long as they have a background and just damn scouting talent and being and knowing what the shit looks like, right?
Hmm.
When I say knowing what it looks like, knowing what it looks like in regards to FSU standards. We end up getting Derek Ray from Oregon State, right? No disrespect to Oregon State, but the type of players you recruit at Oregon State or the structure you recruit at Oregon State, you can't do that same type of shit at Florida State, man. It's two different type of ballparks, two different type of arenas as far as type of players we're looking at. So just I want to bring somebody in that knows what it looks like from a I guess say both sides of the ball standpoint to compete from a national standpoint. And then again,
Hmm.
you want to bring in more recruiters from an off field standpoint. My guy Devin Repress, that's my guy. Tallahassee local. We need more like him. We need more like him. So we got to beef it up in that regard as well too.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So, how you feel about this thing with Gus, man? I really, I think we should go away from that, go to an offense. I mean, it could be some spread, but I really like to go to like a 12 personnel, man, and we just run some kind of duo or inside zone or stretch or something with a quarterback that could throw outside the hashes, man, and use the middle of the field. We get great tight ends, but we don't use them. Cause like right now we got I feel like he a running back playing quarterback, man. I'm gonna just be truthful with you. And then when you took away that running aspect, it was crazy. Like I feel if we had anybody who could just, you know, manage the game, could throw outside the hashes, could, what I mean, throw an 8 route, 9 route, something like that, with some kind of arm talent, we could have won at least 3, 4 more games. How you feel about that?
No, I do think if we had a more accurate quarterback, we would have definitely won more than 5 games because it was a few games. I guess you could say a few games that we end up losing that was just due to missed throws and things like that. So yeah, I agree with it from that standpoint. But just to your point about Gus himself, I know it's been reports that Gus in Florida State could be. Yeah, I like that quarterback a lot. My shout out to Graham talking about the Old Dominion quarterback. I know Gus and my bad, I lost my damn train of thought. I know it's been talks about Gus probably mutually parting ways, whether retirement, taking another job, head coaching job, OC somewhere else. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, man. But I agree with you to an extent, but I do think my biggest issue with Gus is just like short yardage play calling and things like that. Um, and kind of,
So
I
so
guess
so like it's like when it get red zone, tight zone, it's like
you
you
get
you
everything.
can't use it spread like you
Yeah,
know.
I agree with you. It gets ugly in the red zone and that type of deal. So I wouldn't be opposed to a more innovative offensive coordinator moving forward. But on the flip end, like you said, if we would have had a more accurate quarterback, shit, we could have won a few more damn games, and those numbers could be a lot different as well too. So I do think it was a combination of Tommy not being accurate, but at the same time, this was the quarterback that Gus wanted initially out of the portal, and he got him. But Cade Bell is the guy that I watch out for, man. The Panthers offensive coordinator, very
Uh,
innovative offense. I really like what he's done with Pitt. So he's a guy that I look out for. Just for my
so
personal
so so
opinion.
you think they go take the money and spend the money to get a transfer portal quarterback and to bring that OC in? You think they go take that money and spend it and do that?
I don't know. I guess it depends on if we get a new OC. I don't think Tommy will be back. So if we get a new OC, I don't think Tommy will be back. We'll have what three, 3 to 4 quarterbacks on scholarship, or 3 quarterbacks on scholarship, and that's if Brock Glenn stays, which he probably may, because Brock Glenn
Hmm.
could be just cool, being at Florida State and that type of deal. So we're having those would be Brock Glenn, Kevin Sperry, and Jane O'Neal. Those would be the three quarterbacks you have on scholarship at that point in time. And of course, you still I forget the kid's name. He ended up transferring from the FCS ranks to the walk-on quarterback. I think it's King, if I'm not mistaken. He'll be in the I guess the factor as well too if he elects to stay. So with that being said, you may want to take another quarterback due to having three
Hello.
within. Yeah, Corey, you there? Corey, you there?
Damn, it knocked me off.
Nah, you still here? You hear me?
Call knocked me off.
You still a little hard. I don't think you can
Ah,
hear us. Let's move on to road node. But yeah, just to kind of wrap that up, um, we'll see how it play out. But yeah, we'll see if they decide to bring in a quarterback. And I really don't know, man. It all depends on the OC position. If Gus stays, then I think it'll probably be Tommy. But again, that does depend on that waiver as well too. Do we got another? Hey, Court. Let's try to put him back on. Can you hear me? All right, let's put him back on, Harlan. My apologies. We had knocked you off. We'll get you back on. Go ahead and start
okay.
your take, Court. You
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah. I just want to ask this last little question, then I'll get out of here. I kind of watched tape on that boy O'Neal. He from Oklahoma.
yeah,
Yeah, like the man got an arm, like you know what I'm saying,
he does.
and right, and he already look like he know how to put touch on it. You know what I mean? He ain't just rifling everything in there. How do you feel if we just say and we show high school recruits, hey man, we rather just go ahead and just start with a true freshman and not even, because it looked like what they doing with the GM and everything. We go run with Mike Norvell after this year, man. I think we go let Norvell stay until his contract run out. Either
Nah,
way
don't
it
say that.
go. Yeah, man, I'm really thinking it, man. I'm
But
really
nah, just
thinking it.
just
But that's
just stay.
why I'm asking why we just can't just say, man, we gonna do our own ingrown talent and we gonna run with this boy O'Neal and let him go out there, man, and so we can build some structure.
Now, to answer your question, as far as Jane O'Neal, I agree. Like he can throw the ball. I think, as stated just a minute ago in the recruiter portion, but I think he's the best pure passer that Mike Norvell has signed thus far at Florida State. He's accurate. He can push the ball down the field. He has a cannon. The kid can throw the ball, and he doesn't look to run either. Even in the high school ranks, he can run up and down the field if he wanted to, but he's looking downfield, trying to push the ball downfield. He's mobile, he can scramble, and that type of deal. But as far as your point, you got to remember too, you got Kevin Sperry as well too from the high school ranks. So I wouldn't be opposed to letting those guys competing and figuring it out, and then whoever wins the battle wins the battle. But if Jaden O'Neal comes in and wows the coaches and he's just that good, I think if he could take the reins like that, then they'll play him. Because I don't feel like FSU has an issue playing freshmen. As you can see, a lot of the guys we play, well, a lot of our best players this past year were true freshmen. And if you show that you could do it, they'll put you in a position to do it. But I
Yeah,
would
man.
rather,
I mean,
but I would,
I think FSU. It feel like it's a money thing with me, man, and I thinking that don't nobody want to bite the bullet on this. You know what I mean? They don't want to, cause I think when Norvell lead, the AD go lead too. I think they both go. So that's just my opinion.
yeah, we'll see how it play out. It's been reports that Alfred did interview for other AD positions, so we'll see how that play out. But it's definitely a few years, like what, 6, 8, 7, 8 more years as far as what's left on Mike Norvell contract. So,
Lord have mercy.
right, exactly. You said you gonna stay for the duration. But we'll see how it play out.
All right, man. Be safe, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. All right, we got Rogue Noel on. Let's transition over to Rogue Noel. See what they got to say. You
I
there?
really came. Good afternoon. I really came over here to cuss you out, but
Oh my
I ain't
gosh.
gonna disrespect your show like that. Let me
All
tell
right,
you.
talk to
Let
me.
me tell you one thing. You the one that led the whole fan base astray when it comes to Mike Norvell. I don't want to hear it. And you're trying to be funny with the little Wildcats picture in the background. Nobody cares. You got lucky. But anyway, we ain't gonna. I ain't come for that. You on here talking trash about the class when this the first time that the coach that you put on the fan base actually signed everybody. Didn't lose nobody on signing day. Didn't lose his top rated player
I said it was a
on
good
signing
Saturday.
day. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. You come over here, you talk about the class. I mean, I don't understand. It is what it is with Mike in terms of recruiting. In my opinion, this is probably good for him. I feel like, they addressed a lot of areas. Yeah, you trying to be funny. You're still the second rated school, second rated HBCU in the state. But anyway, um, I feel like they addressed the area, positions of need, you know. No, it's not a Bama class, Ohio State class, but for for the person and the people in in that office and on Mike Norvell's staff, I feel like it was pretty decent. We all expected Isaiah not to sign because he's decommitted and flipped to almost everybody in the P4. But when the kid came back, he remained solid. Everybody expected Miami to take Lopez from him. The kid, hey, he stayed the course. For the most part, we felt like somebody was gonna come and take out our class like they always do, but they held on to everybody and they added some pieces. You got people around here was dogging them, saying they don't recruit the local talent. They did a good job this year of with the local talent. People was coming unglued about Cam Brooks committing to Cal in the spring. They dogged the staff about that. Now they bring him back in. The same people that dogged him for letting the kid commit to Cal is the same ones that's dogging them for signing him. Like there's no winning with this fan base. And then for you to sit up on your Wildcat Gluteus Maximus after you done hyped this man up to us for 6 years to get on here and talk noise about the class. The man did good given who he is. And Lord knows after I done dogged him, I hate to give him some props, but I got to. And I mean, you was right when you said that. You was right about Press, Devin Rich Press. He's a good person. Despite the college that he played for and attended, he's a
What,
good person.
what college do you play for?
We ain't gonna discuss that, but
Oh,
to
okay.
me, you need probably 3 or 4 more people like him on staff that's like gonna go get it. That's relentless. You need more dogs like that. But your cousin from what is it, Waycross, Waynesboro, whatever little South Georgia city he from, he don't need to come back. I like him, but he's a go gadget quarterback, and that ain't what we need. We need somebody that could get the ball to the playmakers. But all in all, I mean, if they keep the young core together and keep them out the portal with what they added, I'm all right. I'm okay. I ain't gonna come unglued. I ain't gonna come unglued like I did a few weeks ago because I mean I see something to build on. Whether Mike builds on it or his replacement that's down at USF now builds on it.
Mhm.
But I see the vision.
Shout out Hardline. But no, I said it was a good signing day. So signing day and class overall, I guess two different discussions. But I said it's a good signing day for one. Like you said, they kept all their commits First time that's happened, and they did a good job of flipping some guys as well that weren't really expected. And they could flip a few more guys in the coming days.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know why you sitting up here. You already know, but I know what the climate is right now. So you
I
got to
feel good.
feed
It's a good,
the
it's a good
masses.
take.
But you the one that fed Mike to the fan base. You the one that led all of us astray.
I definitely did. I'll take that. I'll take that 100%. You're absolutely right. I was one of the first ones to be, and that's what I'm saying. Mike owed me a little bit of that check because I was one of the first ones on Twitter to even mention Mike Norvell. And I was one of the first ones on Twitter to kind of advocate and try to get the fan base around Mike Norvell. And then we end up hiring him, and then, the rest is history. So, yeah, I agree, man. Mike Norvell definitely owed me a check. I feel like I played a big damn part of getting you to Florida State and getting you to Florida State for 6 years so far, 6 years and counting. So, Mike, I see you in traffic, man. You got to cut me a check.
Well, they already done dropped the man address on Twitter, so you know where to find him. Man, don't nobody want to see that. The only thing good about that school in Daytona is Let's Go and Bethune Grill. That's it. Oh, and the founder. Always much respect to the GOAT. Much
Shout out to
respect to the
Nick.
GOAT. Love her. I love her. I love her. I wrote about her a lot when I was in undergrad. But that's, outside of her, Let's Go and the Wings, there's nothing else to discuss. I'm gonna
Well, no,
let you
I'm
get.
with
I'm
you,
gonna
bro.
let you get back to leading these people astray.
All right,
And
I appreciate it.
I hope Mike listening to you.
Cut me the check, Mike. I need a little something.
Nah, Mike say you the one that's dropping bags. So if the class,
Just,
so I'm gonna say this
just give
before
me,
I
just
go.
give me all the access I
If the
need.
class is bad, it's on CJ.
If it's good,
If it's bad, he say it ain't all that. It's his fault. But I'm gonna go. I can't keep talking to people from Florida's second rated HBCU.
hell Wildcats. Appreciate you as always.
Whatever. Oh, and shout out to Tiny Hat CEO. I know he's somewhere, and his sponsor Sunrise Looker. He'll be on here. So he'll be on here soon. But I can't keep talking to people like you.
Shout out my guy Tiny Hat. But no, just to clarify again, it was a great signing day. But if you look at the class overall, I mean, top 15 or 14 overall. And you guys know I'm not a class ranking type of guy. That's not really me, but it's truth to it. As far as if you look at the top 10 teams and that type of deal within the recruiting rankings, shoot, they're competing for the playoffs. But again, I think we're doing a good. This class is good for what it is, especially 7-17 the last few years. But it's not the standard, which is the main reason why we've been 7-17 within the last few years, because these high school classes haven't been good, and then you have a portal class that isn't good after the 2023 season. So you have a bad portal class that you banked a lot of money on. You don't have good high school recruiting behind that. The recipe to that is a 2-10 season. If we had recruited better on the high school level, that 2024 recruiting portal flop would have been a lot better if we were able to supplement better high school recruiting to I guess, unthrown or whatever you want to call it, as far as that 2024 portal class that busted for FSU. So you had a bust portal class, bad high school recruiting, 2-10 record, 5-7 record. Even though this portal class was a lot better. But yeah, we'll see. We got some things to build on. If we keep from an underclassman standpoint. Well, first of all, if anybody else want to join in, tap in from the call-in portion. Go ahead and do it before we wrap it up pretty soon. You guys know I like chopping it up, so shout out to my guy Big E, Hell Wildcats, Cool Breeze. Let the people know what happened one more time. What was that score? Shout out to Cookman. But again, if you guys want to tap into the call-in portion, go ahead. But yeah, I do think the class it's a lot of good pieces in the class, but overall, we need more if we want to get to the standard. And again, we keep deviating from the standard from a win standpoint, recruiting standpoint, and all that stuff do correlate. But I do like what we emphasize. 10 defensive linemen, really good job on the defensive line. 4 linebackers, 3 of those guys I think could be big time players for FSU, and nice size on the offensive line. And again, man, make sure we got about 1,700 people in here. If you guys are on Twitter hanging out, come over to the YouTube portion. Come over to the YouTube portion and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. Show a little bit of love. Let's tap in, man. Anybody want to call in? Let's go. We'll wrap it up pretty soon. If not, yeah, I'm going to get back into my spiel a little bit about what I feel like. I guess the changes for FSU and what needs to happen, in my opinion. We'll go off field first. Of course, starts with the GM. You got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that. I'm not even going. And why? I need this answer too. Like, why is Derek Ray on the sideline with fucking headsets on? Like, why? Why? Why is he on the sideline with a headset on? Like, for the love of me, I don't understand that shit. Like, that really pissed me off seeing him on the sideline with a headset. But I think the general manager, he needs to go. I think we need to probably a few more off-field guys will probably end up going. We need to add more recruiting, beef up the off-field recruiting. We got to get more dogs. Dev is my guy. Love him. He can't do it by himself. We need 3 to 4 more just like him. You got to bolster that off the field recruiting portion and bring monsters to that shit. Simple as that. Those guys carry a lot of weight. Shout out to my guy John Herring, Hoover, Jay Hoover. He's at Texas now. He was the one who offered Maycock down the stretch and kind of got Texas in the picture of him. But Hove knows how to recruit. At Louisville, you see all those Miami cats that end up beating Miami for Louisville. Hove brought them to Louisville. Did a good job of bringing kids to Florida as well when he was there. So again, guys like that, you don't need one, you need multiple on the staff to be effective. So I think we need to bolster that. We need to, from the NIL standpoint, we got to put money into it. I know Alfred is a big component on the little $20 million school payout, whatever that shit is called, versus the actual NIL collectives, the collectives and all that type of deal. I'm not even sure what that shit is called, where you got the damn, you drew a damn blank. The cap or whatever. I know Alpha's a big component of that, but man, that shit isn't enough, man. You gotta have that cap, and you gotta have strong collectives around it to supplement that cap. You gotta bring that money in. You gotta pay these cats. Simple as that. You gotta pay these cats. That's just what the game is nowadays. So we gotta stay with it in regards to that. Was telling someone else this the other day. Florida, FSU, and Miami, we got behind other teams in the mid to that rail sharing. That's right. Rail sharing versus NIL. We got to have fucking NIL too. That rail sharing is cool, but you got to have NIL as well too. And Alfred, there's a rail sharing component, but to be really competitive, you got to have both. What the fuck was I just saying before I went into the rail sharing thing? But yeah, you name the game, you got to pay these kids. So we need to bolster up the NIL portion, the on-field coaching guys. So I feel like could possibly be gone. I think Tony Tozart, Tozart, it's been beyond time. He should be gone. He should be a guy that should be let go. There's been literally no development at all from the quarterback positions since he's taken over. Hell, even Jordan Travis kind of took a step back from 22 to 23, in my opinion. And of course, we know who the big developer, I guess the reason behind the Jordan Travis development, and that was Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham. He was the big reason behind that. So I think Tozart, he has to go. John Pachulis, he has to go. He was the current linebacker coach. Even though we brought in a really good linebacker class, just in my opinion, he has to go. Been on the staff for a while. Hasn't been a great recruiter. He was a defensive end coach prior to that. Hasn't been a great recruiter from the high school ranks. Did bring in, of course, Jared versus Jermaine, but I do think that John needs to go special team coordinator as well. The special teams have been far from special this year, just being quite honest. Um, haven't been special at all from the field goal kicking unit, which I think I'm not trying to move on from Jake just yet. Fitz struggled early on in his career, ended up being one of the better kickers in program history. Jake is just a red shirt freshman. We'll see how things look next year for him. But we saw the punt return debacle against NC State. We haven't blocked a field goal since what, 2022? LSU, maybe. If I'm wrong, correct me. Kick return has been abysmal. Haven't done anything from the kick return standpoint. We haven't gotten past the 25, I don't think, at all this year once we actually bring the kick out. We got all sides on special teams. Edwin Joseph blew that field goal attempt, so those people are jumping all sides and give it a touchdown later on. So special teams overall just haven't been special. So I can see a move for Pachua's probably being let go. Those two positions, and we'll see if there's another position. And we don't know, of course, what Gus is going to do and how that'll shake out as far as Gus probably leaving and things like that. And that's another question because we know Herb Hand has been pretty much tied to Gus throughout. So if Gus end up taking another job elsewhere or a mutual parting, whatever it may be, does Herb Hand go elsewhere too? So you could be in the hunting for another offensive line coach as well. But it's interesting. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, as far as Tony White, I'm not a component of firing Tony White. If you're going to lose both of your coordinators, get rid of both of your coordinators, what was the point of retaining Mike Norvell in the first place, right? In my opinion. Give Tony White another year within the defense. Give him another year to keep bringing in talented players that fits his defense. Give him another year to get the scheme and that type of deal. We just need better players, in my opinion, on that side of the ball to kind of do what he wants to do on defense, especially within that front seven. We got to get that linebacker position and depth overall on the defensive line. It just has to get better, which they address this within signing day. And I expect them to be more aggressive once the transfer portal opens up. But those are the takes, in my opinion, that this staff, they could possibly make on FSU. We'll see. I don't know about running back position. We'll see about that as well. And I don't know who was behind. I don't know if it's Yak. I don't know if it's Gus as far as that running back rotation, but we have to get that addressed going into next year because that shit made no sense at all. And this was the first year I don't believe in previous years we had a running back rotation that looked that funky or that out of clunk. Interesting. But yeah, we got to get that figured out. I answered this question, and we'll probably wrap things up if we don't have any callers that want to join. I'm not a fan of that 3-3-5 base though, bro. What's your take? I think if you had the players for it, you could be fine with it. We just got to get the players for it. We got to get better linebackers, better defensive linemen. Simple as that. Even if we went 4-3, I think we still would have had a lot of those holes within the defense or whatever, 3-4, any type of defensive front. Because we say 3-3-5, but in actuality, we had a lot of 4-down linemen, a lot of 4-down plays and things like that. It's not strictly 3-3-5. He does a lot of different variations and a lot of different fronts within the 3-3-5. I think Tony White just needs better players, specifically within the linebacker room, specifically on the edge as well. Once we get better players, you got to have dogs on the defense line and dogs on the linebacker room. I think it can be effective. We just got to get better players. So I'm interested to see what year two, even though Florida gashed it down our throat, the defense overall wasn't bad this year. I mean, there was a lot of improvements in certain areas. I think we just need to get better in certain areas as well. A lot of that stuff be player issues, in my opinion, that I saw on defense. All right, guys, last call for the call-in portion. Anybody want to join? Go ahead and hit it. Anybody want to join? All right, we'll go ahead and end the show, but make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see what happens when the portal open up. I know a lot of people it was another conversation on the timeline as far as portal needs, right? What should FSU address in the portal when it opens up, right? Let's kind of talk about that real quick. What should we address in the portal when it open up? In my opinion, it should be only at 3 positions. In these 3 positions only, unless some elite player enter the portal. Offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. Offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. Now, if you have a quarterback that enters that's like that, shoot your shot. But offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker, in my opinion, should be where the sole focus should be on the transfer portal. I think we have maybe 2 or 3 offensive linemen probably start that's on the roster. I think Sandman will probably be the center. Sandman will probably be the center. I think we have a guard position as well. No, not the roster. Hold on 1 second. At the guard position, I think we will have, my apologies, looking at the names, Andre Otto. Yeah, Otto. I think Otto will start at the guard position. He ended up playing, starting a few games for FSU as well. The tackle position, of course, we talk about Lucas Simmons and all that type of deal. I'm not 100% sold on that as far as his development. So probably get about 2 to 3 portal starter offensive linemen, in my opinion. But O-line and D-line should be where the focus where it should be at. O-line and D-line. Shout out my guy Ramon. I see you said a huge zero-tech defensive lineman. Look for Kevin Wynn to take over for the nose tackle starting job for D-Jack next year. He was the main backup going into the season. Had some injuries early on that derailed him. Ended up taking a red shirt. But yeah, watch for Kevin Wynn to be that guy. But as far as the depth and things around him, I agree. We need to bring in more. So offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker, in my opinion, should be our portal focus unless some elite player, regardless of position, enters the portal. Someone mentioned receiver. I'm good at receiver. Even though Deuce, if Deuce does come back, highly unlikely, which I doubt, but you could probably say Deuce. If he doesn't come back, I'm perfectly fine with Mekhi Danzy, Dwayne McCoy, Javon Bars, and those guys, kind of developing them and seeing what they can do. I like what we have from the running back room, receivers, love the defensive backs. Like I stated, just bring me offensive line, defensive line, more defensive linemen, and some linebackers. I think the Sear Twins, of course, they're going to be bona fide stars. But we'll discuss that later on once the portal actually opens. If FSU does, in fact, get any commits after today, which is definitely still in play, like I stated, we'll have you guys covered. We'll have those videos coming as well. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, last thing, shout out to my sponsor in Fast Pay. Tap in with those guys. Go Noles.